Welcome back to Tracking That, a channel where we try to track what liberals are saying but end up not being able to as usual. Well, Donald Trump basically laid out his plan for the mass deportation effort of the United States. We all know Biden is the main perpetrator of this, and it is a calculated effort. Some say it's to lower the white population, but YouTube doesn't like when I talk about this, so take that for what you will. And some say it's so Democrats get decisive victories for the next decades. This is because new immigrants are twice as likely to vote for a Democrat rather than a Republican. So of course, Democrats would welcome illegal immigrants with open arms, even if their first act in this country is an illegal one. So God knows what else they would do. Wait a minute. Lake and Riley slain. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, the foreign-born population hit 51.4 million in the United States, which is 15.5% of the U.S. population. Since Biden took office, it grew by 6.4 million foreign-born populations. Foreign-born is a combination of legal and illegal immigrants. They estimated 3.7 million were illegals. There also has been an increase in the number of non-educated folks, being that 44%, up from 29% in 2018. The Census Bureau estimated this is 15.5% of the number population would not reach until 2039. So you can tell this is a calculated effort. And not only that, they're coming from different countries. So in summary, we are letting less educated people from different countries into already a disaster of a country. This is why the America First movement has taken off. We have too many issues in our country that are not being taken priority. And we're not even spot checking these citizens. With inflation already kicking our we don't have the resources to pay millions of dollars of taxpayer money to hotels for these people. And I don't care that inflation is down. Remember, inflation is like reaching 500 pounds in body weight and saying, hey, I stopped gaining weight. You're still a chunky boy. So let's hear what Trump has to say.
Young people, surprisingly, immigration is a top issue for them now. I was talking to a young guy, he's 26. He says he's watching what's going on in New York. He owns a business. He can't afford to buy his own house. He struggles to be able to support a family. And I know that you've said that there's going to be the largest deportation effort in your next term. How do we do it?
So millions and millions of people are coming into our country, and it's not necessarily exactly what we want or had in mind. They have open borders where people just flow in, and many of those people are coming from prisons. Many of those people, frankly, are murderers and they're drug dealers, and they're coming from mental institutions. And they're coming from places that are not going to work very well. It's not going to be very good for our country. So we're going to start with that, and we have to get them out. No country can sustain what we're going through. I believe the number is 15, 16 million, could even be 17 million people right now. That's bigger than almost all of our states.
I think it's freaking out young people. How do we do it, though? I mean, is it going to be new personnel?
It will really be done with local police. The respect has been taken away. The honor has been taken away from our police forces. They're not allowed to do anything. And whether it's libertarian or not libertarian, you have to have law and order. You can't have 500 people walking into a department store and just walking out with everything they have. And we have to give honor and respect back. And I believe immunity, because, so often when a police person does their job, they end up with no pension. They end up with no house. They end up with no family. Everything's taken away from them. They have to get their own lawyer. So we're going to give them back their dignity and their strength. The local police know the criminals that we're talking about. They know their first name, their middle name, and their last name. They know everything about them. And we're going to have to let them do that. And they will bring them in. We have no choice. And these are, in many cases, and this is from all over the world, not just South America, which is big enough. But they're coming in from the Congo. They're coming in from all parts of Africa. They're coming in from all parts of Asia. And it's an invasion into our country. And no country can handle this. So we're going to have them taken out. Local police, we're going to work very closely with the local police. And it's been done before. We had Dwight Eisenhower, believe it or not, did the biggest deportation. He pretty much stopped it. Strange that we mentioned Eisenhower, because you don't think of him that way, but he did a massive deportation where people were pouring in.
This is what I love about Donald Trump. He uses common sense to answer questions. We need to start letting police do their job rather than have them being disrespected because of mob mentality, and letting policies reflect that. But Trump brought up an interesting point about Eisenhower. His administration was able to deport 1.3 million people in the 1950s during what's called Operation Wetback. Thousands of immigrants were shoved into buses, boats, and planes. In Chicago, 3 planes a week were filled filled with immigrants and flown to Mexico. In Texas, 25% of all the immigrants deported were crammed onto boats. Anytime I say boats, it really exposes my Midwest accent. But this wasn't perfect. There was death and disease that resulted, so I think we can do this in a more humane way, but it worked at the time. Obviously, nowadays, this would result in news pieces calling it a humanitarian crisis or something, and there may be bad political implications. So, I mean, that'd be easy for the Democrats to cover that, oh, Republicans are treating these people like dogs. But at the end of the day, this is what we need to happen. And so I think we can do it in a humane way, but I think it would be terrible coverage for Republicans. Anyways, guys, what do you think about Donald Trump's deportation plan? I think this is the thing that this country needs, to make it safer. We got to put our country first rather than immigrants first. We've been spending way too much on these foreign wars. We don't have the money to pay for these illegal immigrants that aren't even educated. But remember, just because you have a bachelor degree, that does not make you an expert in the subject. Anyways, guys, that's all I have today. Thank you for watching.